Yes, welcome to Overnewton Yirramboi campus in Keilor on Wurundjeri Woiwurrung country, and a pretty interesting project that we were fortunate to win the master planning process for back in 2017. Went through a very lengthy and somewhat interesting conversation with the college over a 10-month period. They have two campuses, just to position it in context for you all. And the two campuses were running fairly independently of each other in terms of just, pretty well two schools with the same program running for both schools, just in different locations. A few kilometres away from each other. The master planning process was interesting in so much as it did create some fabulous opportunities for an utter transformation for the college, and the development of two separate campuses, of a junior campus and then a middle to senior campus, of which this particular building is on. So I'll just to locate this particular project. We are on the Maribyrnong. Apologies, we've had to optimise some of these images, so if they're a bit hazy, you'll know the reason why. On the Maribyrnong, and within it, really pretty spectacular location on a lot of levels, and intriguingly, the campus which has developed over time, has a lot of spaces like this within it. Where we spent a lot of our time, I guess, in the dreaming phase of the master plan, because this is where they all meet and have their meetings and their sort of theaterette. So as you can see, quite a different sort of layer of conversation going on in terms of, the ability to imagine and dream of futures. So we did our best and did a lot of workshopping with the school in rows at times, and trying to hack a lot of the spaces, and came up with an interesting proposal for them that started the conversation. I'll just to locate you as well, if for those that really interested to know, that this red zone is where the Keilor site is. Like I said, on the river, a lot of threatened flora and fauna along that river, and a lot of sort of biodiversity species being threatened as well. So this is us in through here. So they've got quite a significant area that they look onto, and pretty well should be, sort of looking towards and connecting towards. Interestingly, over the years, they have developed a very strong connection to that river as well. So this project was about trying to develop that connection in a much more significant way. I'll just throw you, we are on volcanic basalt plains, and that does matter, and it mattered for our project quite a lot, and we took a lot of our references in terms of how the building form would start to evolve and start to manifest itself. So this is the project area on the site that we ended up developing on our master plan, and a little praying mantis, because I think part of the conversation, it is in airspace as well. We have a very topographically a really interesting site, and it sort of really, we're up on the top of the hill, this administration building, and it rolls on straight down into the river. So it is this particular site is appreciated three-dimensionally in a really complex manner. Whether you're appreciating it from up on the bottom of the hill or up on the top, or from airspace as well. So our, sort of our thinking around what this might look like was very mindful of the opportunities that the site afforded in terms of its topography as well. And of course the colourings, the natural colourings, there's a little, you get down to a whole lot of levels, don't we? This is a little terrain colour bond sample that's embedded in a tree there while we were trying to work out what the hell is this building going to look like. how does it feel? How does it relate to its locality as well? And yeah, lots of questionings, and there's some little budding things happening over here. This is the site plan, and you can see the river down here, and this is our middle building. Part of the master plan intent was to bring the energy back down into the site. Prior to that, it had been very centralised up on the top of the hill in it, some of those spaces that you saw, or one of those spaces that you saw earlier in that image as well, quite internalised. And what we found was whenever we'd go and meet as well, for some reason it was always blowing a gale or raining heavily as well. So you're just running from one building to another, which is fine and terrific. But what was actually happening was meaning that everybody was really staying inside. So this, I guess, intent here was to try to create a building that had a number of different levels, an underbelly to it, something that was hovering, whether it's an artifact or some sort of beast or something unknown that's sitting there that people can navigate in and under, provide shelter for, but also sort of create habitats. And this is a model that was created. You can see a really clean roof here, and that's an important one, because that's probably one of the hardest things to do on a really wide building that we've found. This particular building, it does, from its program, it's a very complex program that has been inserted into it, and creating a roof that minimises box gutters, manages valley gutters, and doesn't have a whole lot of penetrations through it that can be looked onto was really important to us. What have we got?
1 minute.
1 minute. 1 minute left. I'm going to fly through some of these images then, and you'll see, importantly, this particular plan shows a series of classrooms. You'll note that when you're actually internally within them, are distorted and disrupted enough to create, intentionally create memory and understanding of how to operate and how to work pedagogically, but equally provide opportunities and openings into different ways of actually organising yourself. I better get on to the actual important images. Through here. So these invitations to come on out and migrate into different zones to work, to connect and slip from one space to another fairly seamlessly as well. And with very strong sight lines, there's no room within the space that is the same as the other at all, and carefully curated windows that create connections back to those landscapes.
Sorry, Sandy, unfortunately, that's the presentation time, but I'll throw to the jury for questions.